Hello, first grade. It's Miss Barnes again. I am back with our math lesson. Remember yesterday, we learned to tell time to the hour, and I told you we were going to do that lesson for 2 days. Well, guess what? Today is the second day. So this is telling time to the hour, day 2. Are you ready? For this lesson, you're going to need your packet of work. Now, in your packet of work, behind today, you should find another clock practice worksheet with the blank digital and analog clocks. You're also going to need a pencil. If you need to pause the video to go get these items, you can. Hit play when you're ready to begin the lesson. Our clear learning target today is I can tell and write time using analog and digital clocks. Will you read that with me? I can tell and write time using analog and digital clocks. Great job. Yesterday, we learned to tell time to the hour, didn't we? Yes, we did. Today, we're going to keep practicing that on both analog and digital clocks. But before we do that, let's review what we learned yesterday. Yesterday, we talked about the analog clock, which is this circle clock right here, and the digital clock, which is this rectangle clock. Now, on the analog clock, this circle part with the numbers is called the face. And if you remember from yesterday, this smaller hand is called the hour hand. It shows us what hour of the day we are on. This longer hand is called the minute hand. It shows us how many minutes into the hour we are. And we remember when the minute hand is pointing to the 12, that means it's a brand new hour. So we just say o'clock after whatever hour it is. So we know that this clock right here is showing 3 o'clock because the hour hand is pointing at the 3 and the minute hand is pointing at the 12, which means it's a new hour. So we say it's 3 o'clock. Now on this digital clock, the face of the digital clock is this rectangle part right here. And remember on the digital clock, we have these sneaky things right here called a colon. And we talked about yesterday, it's very important that we have the colon on our digital clock because the colon separates the hour from the minutes. So we know that the number or numbers that comes before the colon shows us what hour we are in. And we know that the numbers that come after the colon shows us the minutes into the hour that we are in. So this clock right here, if we look at the number before the colon, it's a 3. So that means the hour is a 3. That is what we say first. If we look at the numbers after the colon, it is 2 zeros. On a digital clock, when we see 2 zeros, that means it's a new hour. So we just say o'clock. So this digital clock is showing the time 3 o'clock. Great work reviewing, friends. We're going to now watch this video to help us review a little bit more.
This sentence is grammatically correct.
Okay, wasn't that a great video? It was really good to help us review, wasn't it? I always like the Jack Hartman videos. Okay, so now that we've finished reviewing, let's go into our first launch. So go ahead and get out your clock practice worksheet and your pencil. I'm going to read the launch to you. Are you ready? A first grade class goes out for recess at 10 o'clock. How can you show 10 o'clock on an analog clock? How can you show 10 o'clock on a digital clock? I'm going to read that one more time. Are you ready? A first grade class goes out for recess at 10 o'clock. How can you show 10 o'clock on an analog clock? How can you show 10 o'clock on a digital clock? Okay, so now what I want you to do is get out your clock practice worksheet and your pencil. And I want you to find an empty analog clock on the worksheet and an empty digital clock on the worksheet. And I want you to show 10 o'clock on each of those different clocks, okay? Take a few minutes to work on that, and when you have it written, show someone near you. Remember, you are going to show 10 o'clock on both your analog clock and your digital clock. Remember the things that are important for both clocks while you are solving this problem. I will give you some time to solve the problem now. If you need more time to solve this problem and write on both of these clocks, you can pause the video and finish now. You hit play when you're ready to move on. All right, let's look at our clocks, okay? Let's start with our analog clock. Does your analog clock look like this? If it does, excellent work. When we write 10 o'clock on an analog clock, we know that the hour hand should be pointing to the 10, right? Because that's what hour we are in. And 10 o'clock is a brand new hour. So our minute hand should be pointing at the 12, which is how we know it's a new hour, which means we say it's 10 o'clock. If you got that right, excellent. Let's look at our digital clock. Now with our digital clock, remember, it's important to look at our colon. We put the number before the colon, that shows our hour. We know that if it's 10 o'clock, our hour is 10. So your 10 should have been written before the colon. After the colon, we know we put the minutes. And since 10 o'clock is a new hour, we should have just put 00 on our digital clock because that lets us know it's a brand new hour. Great work on this one, friends. Are you ready for your second launch? Let's see what it is. All right, I'm going to read your second launch. Are you ready? Jose goes to soccer practice at 12 o'clock on Saturdays. Can you show 12 o'clock on an analog clock? Can you show 12 o'clock on a digital clock? I'm going to read it one more time, okay? Here it is. Jose goes to soccer practice at 12 o'clock on Saturdays. Can you show 12 o'clock on an analog clock? Can you show 12 o'clock on a digital clock? All right. I want you to keep out your clock practice worksheet and your pencil because you are going to use it to show 12 o'clock. So find an empty analog clock on your worksheet and find an empty digital clock on your worksheet. I want you to show me 12 o'clock on both of the clocks, okay? I will give you some time to work this problem now, and when you're done, I want you to share the answers that you got with your neighbor, okay? Go ahead and work now. If you need more time to finish writing your times on your clocks, you may pause the video and you can play it when you're ready to move on. All right, friends, let's look at our clocks. Do your clocks that you worked on look like these clocks right here? Let's look at them. Let's start with our analog clock. We know he went to soccer practice at 12 o'clock, which means we know the hour is 12. So our littler hand, our hour hand, should be pointing at the 12. But wait a second, this time is sneaky because we also know that the minute hand points to the 12 when it's a new hour, and 12 o'clock is a new hour, isn't it? So this one is sneaky because to write 12 o'clock on an analog clock, the 12 has, the minute hand and the hour hand both point at the 12. That is pretty sneaky, isn't it? But I know you guys are smart first grade scholars, so I bet you got that right. Good job if you got it right. Let's look at 12 o'clock on our digital clock. Again, we should look at our colon for our digital clock because it separates our hours from our minutes. So we know he goes to soccer practice at 12 o'clock. So our number before our colon should be at 12 because that is the hour we are in. And our number after our colon should be 2 zeros because on a digital clock, 2 zeros shows us that it's a new hour. So we can say o'clock. So this digital clock right here shows 12 o'clock. Does your digital clock look like this? If it does, 2 thumbs up. All right, friends, that was our review of how to tell time to the hour. I know you guys did an excellent job. Now we're going to have more independent practice with writing and telling time to the hour, okay? So in your packet for the week, you should have these 2 worksheets, okay? On this first worksheet, it's just like the one you did yesterday. You are going to look at the time on the analog clock and write it down here in this little digital clock, okay? That's pretty easy. And now this one, this telling time worksheet. It should also have another worksheet with it that shows different times in digital form. You are going to find those digital times and you are going to write them in down here on these digital clocks and also show me how that would look on an analog clock. So if on that second sheet one of the times is 11 o'clock, you are going to write 11 o'clock right here in this digital clock and draw the minute and hour hands on this empty analog clock to show 11 o'clock. I hope that makes sense. If not, I'm sure your teacher can help you. When you are finished with those worksheets, you can do 20 minutes of iReady Math. And remember, if your teacher has assigned you certain assignments on iReady Math, work on those first. Then you can do the other stuff that comes in the green boxes, okay? You guys did a great job today. I am so proud of you, and I will see you tomorrow for more math work, okay? Bye, friends.